a glass of wine that I had sitting on the desk of the table in front of me, and I had a whole conversation with it. And I within that conversation, by the end of that night, I found myself in the hospital
Mhm.
after an actual suicide attempt on my own life because I was so tired. I was just so hopeless. Like I that night I cried, I screamed out to the Lord, I prayed, I did everything I could to not pick up that glass of wine. And
Mhm.
no matter what I had tried to do, I couldn't not pick it up. And
Yeah.
I just, when I picked it up and finished it and the bottle and the rest of what I had in the kitchen, I was just like, I just don't want to be here.
And hello and welcome to today's conversation. I am so very, very excited because I get to talk to the beautiful Yolam. Wow, all just Yo today. Yay. Very excited on a very important topic about how to have joy without the juice. We're going to get
Yep.
to go into deep with that with you, Lo. So thank you so much for joining us. Like I
Thank
said, I am
you for having
true.
me. I'm excited.
Thank you. Want to get to know your story and how you got to where you are now and everything, but we've got such a wonderful topic is, like I said, how to have joy without the juice and how to experience serenity without the substances. So really, really good. But can we just start off with a nice, gentle question because your energy is so
Mhm.
infectious. Whenever I've talked to you before on our networking stuff, your energy is really, really infectious. So can you share a bit about your personal journey with the struggles that you've had and how you have found serenity without relying on anything?
Oh, wow. Oh, goodness, girl. You said that's simple. That's not a simple one. That's not gentle. We going deep quick. Let's see. Oh my God. It's been a journey for sure. I can take you back as far as 5 years ago, I think, is when it started. That's when I was diagnosed with the disease of alcoholism. Back in March of 2019, my last official drink at the time was a glass of wine that I had sitting on the desk of the table in front of me, and I had a whole conversation with it. And I within that conversation, by the end of that night, I found myself in the hospital
Mhm.
after an actual suicide attempt on my own life because I was so tired. I was just so hopeless. Like I that night I cried, I screamed out to the Lord, I prayed, I did everything I could to not pick up that glass of wine. And
Mhm.
no matter what I had tried to do, I couldn't not pick it up. And
Yeah.
I just, when I picked it up and finished it and the bottle and the rest of what I had in the kitchen, I was just like, I just don't want to be here. I just cannot keep living like this. So I thought. And I ended up in the hospital. I ended up in a volunteer rehab. I spent 30 days there and I did a 6 to 8 more weeks of what they call it intensive outpatient and 10 total weeks in rehab. And then I went to the AA rooms. Very popular solution to being identified as an alcoholic is to go to the AA meetings. And so I went into
Uh-huh.
that space and I spent a good year and a half in that space. But
Mhm.
it was it gave me what I needed at the time. But the more time I spent into it, I no longer was getting what I needed from it. It
Yes.
kept I kept still being in that space of negativity, so to speak, this ickiness, this identification with saying I'm an alcoholic and what came with that. I just didn't resonate with me anymore. So I started trying to seek other ways to maintain my sobriety that wasn't a meeting and that wasn't telling me that I was powerless, that wasn't making me feel the way I felt. And so fast forward even then to COVID year, which was a year later, I found myself furloughed from working at a gym and I started looking into coaching. Like, you know what? I think I want to be a life coach. And as I was going through that and starting to work with other people, there's a lot of things that I realized didn't belong to me. A lot of my choices, a lot of the way I was living wasn't mine. It came from somewhere else. So as I started dissecting how I got to that diagnosis in the first place, I realized that I never knew I had choices.
Yeah.
And now that I realize I got choices, I started choosing for myself the things I didn't choose for myself back then. Like I absolved my marriage, like we're pending divorce. And before anybody goes, after 30 years of being married, it's not we're the healthiest now that we have ever been as a couple. And that's because again, it's my choices I'm making now. I'm not doing something out of obligation. I'm not doing something out of the externals that came to me. I'm choosing joy because I'm choosing how I'm living my life. And I'm not concerned about how it affects other people to the way that I used to be concerned to my detriment. I'm not disrespectful. I'm not rude and mean. I'm not trying to kill nobody, but at the same time, I'm not so, oh, well, I shouldn't act this way and I shouldn't think that way. And it's like, no, it's my life. And I find joy in my power of choice. And I think that if everybody can adopt the fact that if you start questioning your life, like every little bit of it, if you start going like, why do I like vanilla ice cream? To the extent of why am I still in this relationship? And everything in between. If you start questioning it, you find those pockets of joy because you get to choose what brings you the joy. That's a lot. Real quick, Sophia.
I get it, and you've answered my next question too, which is wonderful. But I really get that. So you basically have questioned everything about your life,
Yeah.
and made the decision what you like and what brings you joy and what doesn't.
Yeah. And to figure it out. The fun
And
part is figuring it out. The fun and the less fulfilling, I'll say, is figuring it out. Because I'm older, like I'm seasoned. I'll be 52 this year. And so me trying to dissect 50, let's say 30 years of why do I feel this way? Why do I act this way? Why do I do these things? It can be exhausting. It's tumultuous. I get frustrated sometimes. I get to, but again, I remind myself it's my choice. I can choose to stay in this and be like, oh, well, I don't know why I feel this way and I can't keep doing it like this. I can choose like, well, I don't like this feeling anymore. And I guess I was doing it because of this. Well, that's no longer my choice. I'm gonna choose this. This makes me happy. This lifts me up. I'm gonna keep doing more of this. And it's simple, but it's not easy.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and it's a work in progress.
Yes. Yeah.
And have you always been a joyful type of person?
I have always operated on an undercurrent of joy. I was most spirited female in high school. So I've always had this natural energy. I've always had this natural, hey, how's everybody doing? What's going on? It's just who I be. But
Yes,
internally, it didn't always match externally. Now
yes,
my insides match my outside.
excellent.
You know what I
Through
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
through making those choices on what brings you
Yes.
joy, doesn't
Yes.
letting go of the things that don't bring you joy.
Yeah.
Excuse me, which is
Or
wonderful.
reframing them. Like some of the things I didn't quite let go. Like I let go of the marriage, but like I reframe a lot of things. I reframe, the thought process because I can't absolve everything in my life. Like otherwise, where would I be? Like in infancy. So I reframe a lot of things too that I don't get rid of. It's like instead of me looking at it that way, I'm gonna look at it this way.
Absolutely, which is wonderful. Can I just take a moment just to really honor you?
Oh,
Like
girl.
truly, really, truly honor you for the journey that you've been on, for making those decisions, and for honoring us, for Sacred You and the world with your presence. Like I said, your energy is infectious. If there was a way that we could really clone energy, which I'm sure one day they'll figure out, but right now, if we could really, really clone your energy, the world, just imagine the world and how joyful the place that we would live in. So
Yeah.
I just really want to thank you for coming, and honor you for living your purpose, living your purpose, living your authenticity in being a joyful person. That's who you are.
I'm living my truth, Sophia. I'm living my truth. I mean, we throw that word authenticity out a lot, which I am. I'm guilty of it all the time, but I think it's getting watered down so much. And it really is. It's just living your truth, living your honesty. And like making the choices based upon what fuels you and not based upon all the other external things. Like I think about the young adults I'm working with today. I imagine this silhouette of a young person coming out of high school, and they have all this external input. They have parental input. That's two sets of adults. They have the teachers that they worked with for umpteen years. They have the Bible and the religion if they, are in that space. They have their peer pressure, social media, internal dialogue. It's a lot.
It
And
is.
like when do they get to define what truth is to them?
Yes.
I had to take myself back to a basic of like, what is truth to me? Because I had all of that. And they keep getting all of that. And
Yes.
I just want to empower them with power, like, and let them know how powerful they really are at a young age. That's how you can change the world, is we reach out to our kids and teach them, in so many words, share with them what we've experienced so they don't experience it at that same depth, you
Yeah,
know? So,
absolutely. And it's certainly not a easy world. It's a very challenging world to live in today.
mm-hmm.
So it was challenging when we were growing up too, but now so much
Oh
more
my
with
gosh.
social
Oh,
media and everything
yeah.
else. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would not like to be growing up in today's world.
Me either.
It's a minefield. And so tell us more about what you do. Tell us more about be yourself every day. And, tell us about that. And how does be yourself every day equip teens, young adults with the tools for self-discovery?
Oh, I love that question. Be yourself every day came from just that, me talking about this authenticity I want, this authentic life I wanted to have. And I was having a conversation with my business coach, and I was like, I just want people to just be themselves. Just be yourself. And she's like, that's it. Be yourself. I'm like, yeah, and just like, every day. So that's how it came. Like, be yourself every day. And then I had to say, what does that look like for me? And as I said earlier, when I was diagnosed with that disease and I found myself in rehab and I started trying to figure out how I got to that space of not wanting to live, of using this substance and this liquid to feel me, you know, both ways, feel me in all the leads, emotionally, physically, so just feel me. And so as I dissected my life, I realized that the alcohol was the most recent of addictions. Prior to that was my definition of success, because I'm very degreed. I have 3 associate degrees, a bachelor's, 2 masters. I started doctoral. I'm very degreed academically. Prior to that, my addiction was how active I was in my children's lives. I was PTA president. I was homeroom mom. I was coaching my son's basketball team. Prior to that was my high school years. And when I reached back and realized I haven't really made choices for myself as early as I can remember, which was high school. And so I said, well, if I felt that way at 18, 19 years old, and it led me to here, I should focus on prevention versus intervention. And so I work with the young adults who remind me of me, those high achieving students who are on paper, everything looks amazing. We're on the honor roll, we're class officers, we are in mentor programs, we're getting scholarships, we're starting things, we're filling our life up a lot of FILL, and never taking the time to FEEL. So when I finally started feeling, the feelings I was feeling weren't good feelings. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how to regulate that. So I fell into the unhealthy ways to cope with that. And so what I do now is I am forming a community to support young adults in that age range of 12 to 24, to teach them how to be adults in life. I taught public school for 25 years. We don't teach adulting in school. We teach a lot of things that the kids do not need, that when they finally get out into the real world, lost is the lack of a better way to explain it. Just like, and then remember all the input that's been coming and not knowing, do I want all of this that I've received, or just a little bit of this and a lot of that and none of that? Like, giving an opportunity to actually define themselves. So the community I've created is doing just that. It's giving them space to create their you, whoever they are, whatever that looks like to them. And it's not a cookie cutter. It's not a programmed. It's not an academic. It is literally a safe space to come in and receive whatever it is that you need or desire to create the best version of you. And it all starts with a conference. So my conference is in July, and it's called Amateur Adulting 101, Navigate Adult Life with Confidence. And all the topics are 101s. So self-care 101, dating 101, nurturing 101, lifing 101, working 101, and tribe 101. And in the midst of those breakout sessions are wealth focus, budgeting, credit and debit, investing, savings, cash flow, and money management. So the kids come to the conference and get all that little like seeds being planted. Then they come to the community to get the light and the water and the fertilizer. So that's what I'm doing to work with the youth. And I keep looking for team members that want to also support the kids and preventing them from saying, I wish I knew then what I know now. Because we understand that for generations, and we don't have to keep saying that. They can say it for a different reason because they have to go through life. It's a part of it. Trials and tribulations will come, but not to the depth that I did. You know, I want them to realize that after a year or so many months in a relationship, it's not working. It's okay to let it go. You don't have to stay in that situation for X amount of time because the world said it's the right thing to do. Or if they find themselves, I'm sorry, I was about to say, I lost train of thought. It'll come back to me if it's important. But basically that's it. It's just supporting them and giving them the safe space to be and to create who they are.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love the whole thing. And again, I just like to thank you. Thank you for bringing this to the world. Now, your conference, that is in person?
No, it's virtual. It's virtual. Online. Oh yes, it's beautiful. I'm taking the framework from my business coach in we call it the Minkyverse, this parallel universe we've created to support other entrepreneurs and people who want to personally develop and business development, taking that framework and applying it to the kids. So like after they get the conference, like after they get the tidbits of self-care, for example, now in the community, we're going to create a self-care kit. We're going to create a morning routine. We're going to create a PM routine of self-care. So it's like, let's get started at the conference. Let's delve in deeper in the community and let's continue to support each other as a part of the membership model. So that's how it works. It's wonderful.
Love it. And of course, all your links and everything will be supplied with this video and in the comments. So everyone who is watching, do click on those links.
Yes.
And click. Can I ask you, before we finish up, can I just ask you, we haven't gone much into your whole bio, but one thing that I really picked out of it is you mentioned that you're a kind of a never meet a stranger kind of person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do you think building authentic connections contributes to a joyful life? And how do you go about that?
I think the short answer is hashtag to my title, be yourself. Like give yourself permission to show up as you. Yes. I'm a cursor. I drop the F-bomb a lot. And so, but every time I do that, people tend to come to me and be like, oh my God, yo, I'm so glad you cussed. Like, because it gave permission for them to be okay with it. Yes. And when I show up in all of this, and you're right, my energy is a lot. And when I show up with all of this, it's like, it gives them freedom to be all of whatever they are. And even if it's like, I'm like, if you're going to be an asshole, be an asshole. Just be you. And then everybody else adjusts accordingly if they choose to adjust. And if they're being themselves too, that's how you form those authentic relationships, because each of you are showing up authentically. You're not showing up trying to fit into each other's boxes and what makes you feel good makes you feel good. It's like sort of the unapologetic take me or take it or leave it in a very, but still respectful, like, So I was like, just be you. And I think the challenge for most people is you got to find out who that is. Yes. in order to step into the power of it. If you don't know who that is, it is challenging to find authentic relationships because you're not being authentic. And once you start being authentic, then the relationships are soon to follow. Yes. Because like affects like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
So can I ask you then, as we wrap up the conversation, what piece of advice or wisdom can you share for people to find their authentic self?
Oh yeah. Oh, easy. I have a simple process that not simple, but it's how I got started on this journey. I had a life coach at the time, and he challenged me to create this 10 for the win list. And I was like, well, I don't even know how to get that started, 10 for the win list. So we had to go back a little bit further and take 3 columns, a column titled Be, a column titled Do, and a column titled Have. And then take a little time and write down all the characteristics of who you want to be and all the things you've ever wanted to do and all the things you've ever wanted to have. And then spend a good 5 to 10 minutes in each column, and keep in mind, approach it with no limitations. Unlimited money, unlimited time, unlimited finances, and no anxiety, no concerns of the future, and nor overwhelmed from the past. Like, just sit in that present moment. If I could have anything, who would I be? What would I do? What would I have? I would start there, and then take that list and continue to dissect it and down to like these 10 things. And now take one of those things and take baby steps towards that one thing in each area. And as you keep continuing those steps, you continue to develop who you are, and therefore you're living authentically. That's what I did. That's the most practical way I can give advice to do it. Other than that, just sit in silence somewhere and just wait for the downloads to start pouring in.
Which does happen, but
Which does
again,
happen. Yeah.
that takes
Yeah.
time. But I love that because it's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
It's about all the be. What do you want to be? Who do you want to be?
Who do you want
Um,
to be?
and how you can actually not live up to that, but bring that into your life.
Yes.
To start
Yeah.
with.
That's
Thank you.
simple. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And please, 2 things. One is please come back and let's have another conversation. Let's have part 2 so we can share your energy even more to the world. But before we wrap up, is there any questions that I could have asked you, and how would have you answered?
First of all, thank you for having me. This was beautiful. This was beautiful. You've given me a huge opportunity to practice on being energetically received, but also speaking in my nice little calm, softer tone. Because I'm usually like, you know me. So I think no, the only question maybe you could have asked me is how. No, I can't think of anything. I'm not gonna lie and make up something. There's nothing you could have asked me. No, everything was wonderful. You asked the perfect questions for the perfect response, because it's all done in divine timing.
Oh, thank you. Would you like to wrap up by telling us a little bit more about your program and what else you offer for the people of the world, as well as the conference that you're doing for the teenagers and everything else? But is there anything else that you offer as well? It's 12:30.
2 things I would like to do. First of all, invite every single person that's listening to get onto the calendar. I really don't meet strangers, and I would love to take you out on a blind date. Just show up. Show up. We'll see if we get along, and we can have a second date if it works. And I can tell you more about how you can be a part of our community and my world. That's one thing. So just get on the calendar link, click it, find a spot. Let's talk. The other thing is, I am the best lame joke teller ever. So before we get off, I have to tell you a joke.
Yes.
What do you call an old snowman?
Oh,
What do you call an old snowman?
an old
Water.
what?
Because he melted. He's old, so he's water.
What? Yeah, it's very good. Thank you. And what a wonderful day. And I have to say, for me, what a wonderful day to start the day, because it's 5 o'clock in the morning, or it was 5 o'clock, now it's 5:30. What a wonderful day to start the day. So please come back and have another conversation, because I love starting the day like this. It is such, it brings you the vibrancy. the energy. I know today's going to be a fantastic day because it's the way that it started off. So thank you. I said, I really, from the bottom of my heart, I really want to thank you for today's conversation. And I look forward to having many, many, many more with you.
Me too. Likewise, ditto. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Yay. I'm trying to get the fireworks. It's not doing it. It's tripping.